Obviously, the discussion about Mike Tomlin and whether or not he will be the Steelers head coach beyond this season has been a hot topic. And networks like ESPN and other national media outlets haven't exactly been slowing down their coverage of Mike Tomlin either. So recently on ESPN's Get Up, host Mike Greenberg had an opinion on it where he says, Mike Tomlin has been the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers for 18 years. He's going to the Hall of Fame. I think it's inarguable that he has done an outstanding job there. There's no greater discrepancy than there is between the way the national media people like us perceive Mike Tomlin and the way the local people in Pittsburgh perceive Mike Tomlin. I don't know if I agree completely here. Maybe in the past, like if he would have said this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, it'd be more valid. But now, I think at this point, there are some people in the national media really starting to question Tomlin. Because there's always been a portion or a pocket of Steeler fans probably over the last 4 or 5 years that have been willing to move off of Tomlin. I think that group has gotten larger and larger as time has gone on, and the lack of playoff success and the lack of team success still remains. So, I'm seeing some stuff in the national media where they're bringing up Tomlin's playoff resume recently. 3-8 in the playoffs since 2011. 0-5 in the Steelers' last 5 playoff games. Haven't won a playoff game since 2015, the 2015-2016 season. In those last 5 playoff games, it was a 31-17 loss to the Bills, 42-21 loss to the Chiefs, 48-37 loss to the Browns, 45-42 loss to the Jaguars, 36-17 loss to the Patriots. And I think in all 5 of those games, maybe it's just 4 of those 5 games, at one point in the duration of the games, the Steelers have been down at least 21 points. And if you look at all the points that we've given up in the final result, it's been at least 30 points, and Tomlin's supposed to be more of a defensive-oriented coach. I didn't pull those stats up out of nowhere. I didn't do the extra research. I saw those stats. I saw those graphics on national media shows. And then I even saw on Get Up them comparing Mike Tomlin's career resume to Mike McCarthy's, just to kind of make the point of bro, why do we think Mike McCarthy's this joke of a coach when his resume is as good, if not better, than Mike Tomlin's throughout the course of both of their careers? But then you got the extremes. I think you got extremes on one side where they think Mike Tomlin is completely above reproach, and that any fan that thinks it would be okay for the Steelers to move off of Tomlin, they would be insane because Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach. He'd get picked up immediately by another team. I think that's too far on one extreme, and then the other one is obviously people thinking that Tomlin's not a good coach at all, point blank, period. He doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He hasn't done anything right here. He's just inherited Cowher's players, and that was the reason for his early success. No, he's obviously a good coach. I think he's got a Hall of Fame resume. And obviously, I don't think that he should be above reproach right now and above questioning whether or not it would be warranted for the Steelers to keep him going forward. Now, I think where the discrepancy comes in is is basically, I think, just what people want out of their football teams, right? Steeler fans, we want Super Bowls. We want championships. We want to be in the playoffs in a legitimate way where we feel like we're actual contenders. Because obviously you're not going to win every year, but you want to feel like, yes, we can actually beat the best of teams, and in any given year, we can win a Super Bowl. Whereas, I guess half the league, realistically, is kind of consistently incompetent. So you have probably year in and year out 15, 16, 17 teams that would kill for some sort of consistency and relevancy where they could at least be going 500 year in and year out. And those people can't understand why Steeler fans aren't more grateful. But for Steeler fans, this is what we grew up on, man. This is the standard set from the 70s with Terry Bradshaw, the Steel Curtain, and then passed on with Bo Cowher in the 90s. Even though Cowher didn't win as many Super Bowls as maybe he could have, some of those teams in the 90s were, I think, overachieving. We were making AFC championships. we were going on deep playoff runs, making it to Super Bowls with like Neil O'Donnell. And then we get a Big Ben and, everything comes together. We do win a Super Bowl with Cowher, win the other one with Tomlin, Super Bowl 43, go to another one. But over the last 10 years, maybe we'll say 5 years. I think 5 years will be more fair because those Killer B teams, I think we would all admit, those were top AFC teams, top AFC contenders. We got some unlucky breaks at times. And that was even part of the reason why, over the last 2-3 years, why people were saying, move off of Tomlin. Let's talk about all the playoff failures going back to those Killer B days. Like, there was some context there with Shazier getting hurt, with AB getting hurt in playoffs, Le'Veon Bell getting hurt in playoffs, us getting screwed by the refs in the Broncos game. Like some of that was at play. We can't be putting all that on Tomlin. But then, as time's going on, we're not really righting the ship. We're not really trending back to that direction, and it seems like we're just sputtering. We're just spinning our tires and are in this purgatory of being relevant, 9-8, 10-7. If we make the playoffs, it's like, cool, we made it. We can give a thumbs up, but are we legitimately going to beat the Chiefs? Are we legitimately going to beat the Bills, the Ravens, get to the Super Bowl and actually win a ring? I still think we got a chance this year. Like, listen, I'm literally not writing off this year at all. But with how this regular season finished, man, 0-4, 10-7 again, offense back to Canada ways. Things aren't looking good. But I think I'm wise enough to know that in the NFL, freaking anything can happen, man. I think a lot of this could be pushed to the wayside really quick with a playoff win and then a couple playoff wins. You go on a run and you're in the AFC Championship game. We're forgetting all about this. It'd be stupid that we even brought up this conversation. Although it's not. I think that's why I'm having the conversation now, is because, like, this is legitimately where we're at. Like, this is where we're at. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? But if the season ended right now, I think these are legitimate conversations. The lucky part is, or the silver lining is, the season isn't officially over. We still got games ahead of us. But getting back on track, because the standard is the standard here, we know what that is. I think the organization, the infrastructure it's solid. And that has been shown by the different head coaches we have had, the different players we have had over the last 50, 60 years. And, like, we're one of the best franchises in the league. So, like, it's an attractive job is what I mean. Like, the brand, the legacy, the Steeler Nation, all that stuff. It's not like if we move off of Tomlin, we're going to be getting these bum head coaches in here, right? We're going to actually get some good candidates. It's a sought-after position, no doubt about it. Because that's one of the things, that's one of the cases made against moving off of Tomlin. It's like, who are we going to get better? And that's fair. That's one of the things I've brought up over the last several years whenever I've been combating people that want to fire Tomlin. I'm just like, it's too soon. There's you got to give Tomlin a chance. And the fact, too, it's not like a guarantee you're going to get anyone better. Like, that's legitimate. Like, there is no guarantee you're going to get someone better. But it's not like we're going to be hiring Joe Schmo from out of nowhere. Like, you don't think Mike Vrabel or Brian Flores or a Ben Johnson would want to be the Steelers head coach, the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach? It's kind of like in the NBA being, the Lakers head coach or the Celtics head coach, or in college basketball, the Duke head coach, North Carolina head coach, Kansas head coach. It's a premier football program. And, like, we have good infrastructure. We are a solid organization run by the Rooneys. Like, maybe that's the thing helping us stay relevant as well. Like, obviously, Tomlin has done good things, right? The extreme that says Tomlin's not a good coach at all. That's part of it. But, like, another part of it, too, is this is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think it wouldn't be a far stretch to say that you could at least be relevant with one of those coaches, a Vrabel, a Flores, or a Ben Johnson. Maybe Ben Johnson a little bit more risky because he hasn't proven it as a head coach. But Vrabel with the Tennessee Titans and that disaster of a situation kept them relevant. Brian Flores going to a tanking Dolphins team kept them relevant. I wonder what they could do with the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. So, like, I think you could at least go, 8-9, 9-8, 10-7 is your floor. But with the new guy, the hope is that you can patch up some of those things that we've been seeing over the past however many years that have been ailing us, so we can get over the hump as opposed to just staying in that 9-8, 10-7 spot. I'm not saying move off of Tomlin right now, but as a guy that has defended Tomlin and has said that, we should keep him, keep giving him a chance and everything, it's getting harder to defend. It is, because this was a big year for him, and it's just crazy to think at like a month ago, this is the furthest thing from our minds, right? But this league is, what have you done for me lately? And 0-4 and the team going backwards and finishing with the same record that you had before does make you bring up some of these concerns and some of these thoughts. So I am starting to really understand the perspective of moving off of them at this point. But we still got a game ahead of us. A lot of this could be moot points if we win. And I do think we're going to win. Like, that's the other thing. I think it's relevant to have these conversations in a way right now, but I think we're going to win. I do. Put some money on it.